So we were recently on a trip to Nicaragua about last month, and it was your first time to Nicaragua, and we were able to go on a sponsorship outing. Can you tell us like what your journey has been in that?
Yeah, I didn't have any huge expectations for what sponsorship was. I was familiar with things like, you know, Compassion International, World Vision, things like that. But I just was, this being my first mission trip, I was just taking it day by day. And so when we got to the sponsorship day, I was kind of just along for the ride. When we got to the destination, everybody was really engaged with the kids, and I was just kind of sitting back quietly, kind of observing. And there was a time at lunch when I got to sit with the older, like, teenage girls, and so kind of talking to them through the translator about, you know, what's your family's like? You know, do you have friends? What do you do in your spare time? What are some of the things you hope to do after school? Do you want to go to college? Like, all of those things, and kind of probing and getting to know who they are and what kind of lights them up. And that really excited me about the older kids in the program, and especially because you, Rachel, you sponsor a college-age student, and you've sponsored him for quite some time, and it's made such a huge difference in his family and his life, and obviously down through his family tree. And so that's after that experience, just, and also seeing that they had never been to like a swimming pool, they had never probably maybe journeyed so far away from their communities. I think about when I was back to these teenage girls' age, and I spent Christmas and New Year's in Boston and New York one year, and that just totally broadened my horizons, and it really just kind of gave me like a zest for life. And I was moved by that. I was glad that we could give that experience to these sponsor kids. So I did some probing into the possibility of sponsoring, kind of based on the interests of my oldest daughter, who I feel like could use an older influence, or like someone in her life, you know, that she could maybe relate to, maybe communicate with. And so that is when I was sent a couple profiles, and yeah, and so we chose one together, my daughter and I. And so
you have her pulled up there?
Yeah, so she's 15 years old, and she loves art and animals, and that is exactly my daughter. So that's why we decided she might be the best fit. And another thing is, you know, I see the sponsorship process through into the college years, and you know, as a long-term commitment. And my hope is that we communicate to her that there's somebody a long way away that is investing in her every month, and thinking about her and praying for her, and excited to see what she does with her life, you know, and excited to hear about just where she goes. And so her name is Dayanira. And so I hope I got that pronunciation right, but that is my sponsor girl, 15 years old, and she just reminds me so much of my oldest daughter, and I hope they have a connection, and
hopefully they'll meet someday.
Yeah, I hope so, and that would be wonderful to have Milani come on a trip with us. And also seeing kids that were in the sponsorship program age out of it, and then they're investing again into the organization that brought them through their education, and was really cool. Some of the translators and such, and yeah, so I'm excited to be a part of it.
Thank you so much for making the decision to sponsor her.
Yeah.
And